Welcome back to Laguna Seca as we look down. Wind slightly breezy here at the Monterey circuit, and we are live from the WeatherTech Raceway. I'm Jonathan Green, alongside me, Scott Conway, and we're getting back into our SVRA mode. So we've got a good full group of Group 10, and they need to tighten up a little bit as we come down towards turn 11. Borchetta in the yellow on the left-hand side, and Briggs alongside him. No Bob Mueller. And it is the 55 of Briggs who immediately vaunts into the lead ahead of Borchetta. Borchetta will try to come back at him as they head through the kink at 1 and down to the Optima batteries, turn 2 and ready curve.
Yeah, you saw the experience of Scott Borchetta. Borchetta, who came onto the scene, kind of burst onto the scene in SVRA a couple of years ago, has really improved by miles and miles as a driver. You saw him very tactically. He knew he wasn't going to be able to get on the outside of Briggs. Just tucked in behind him, says, I'll get to the straightaway and may be able to out horsepower him. But already we have two Chevrolet Camaros, first and second. I believe that's Walter Brown that is slotted into third in his Chevrolet Camaro.
Yep, good clean start as they head towards turn 5. And it is the 55 of Bob Briggs in that beautiful white and red Chevrolet Camaro, leading them up the hill towards our man Marley, blowing in the wind. Nice shot. Nice to see the odd Viper out there as well.
Yeah, that's a new ride for Ed Hugo. He showed up in that Viper at Road Atlanta. Hugo usually is in the yellow Chevrolet Corvette, the older style Chevrolet Corvette in Group 4, I believe it is. But he has had a Dodge Viper. We just saw the two Dodge Vipers in the Trans Am Series just a few minutes ago. That was the 2017 version. I believe, if I remember correctly, this is a 2008 version.
Yeah, and I'm also just going to see, because it's a similar story to Bob Mueller as there is for Dirk Leuenberger, who was also in that last Trans Am race. He's down to race in this one. He qualified top 10, but I've got a feeling he'll be doing the same, which is probably resting.
I know I certainly would be.
I know I would.
that was an intense race we just had in Trans Am. Great round 4 will be at Sonoma International Raceway for the Speed Tour and Trans Am next weekend. We're here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca right now. And it's Briggs, who has been the fastest man in the qualifying, Mueller, and Briggs showing that in that red and white Chevrolet Camaro that was introduced, I believe, in 1966 for the 67 model year. It was the same year that the Pontiac Firebird was introduced. A lot of major components were switched out between those two, and of course those two cars lineage to Trans Am, as they were both very effective and very influential in Trans Am racing in the early days.
We just saw Steve Beck there in the number 6 going very wide, and I think what he got caught out by was, we're under caution obviously, but I think he got caught out by the fact that they came over the crest of the hill and the caution came out, and yeah, a couple of cars hit the gravel because they weren't braking as quickly as they wanted to and had to take avoiding action, including Richard Goldsmith.
Yeah, we got
Decon Monza.
Yeah, Richard Goldsmith in that Decon Monza, he was the fastest GT1 car. We also have the iconic number 3, that is a Goodwrench Chevrolet, made famous by the great Dale Earnhardt, and unfortunately it looks like he's in the gravel trap as well. Should be two Monzas out there. I believe Artie Ogier is also in a Chevy Monza that has a either 4.6 or 5.7 liter engine in it, and that was a car that was recognized by Al Holbert in IMSA, and he said that looks like a very good car.
I haven't heard for a while.
Very good car. Al Holbert, number 14, winning 2 Camel GT championships in that car. That was ordered from Lee Dykstra and Horst Queck. They were Dykstra Engineering at the time. Now, John, you're going to have a tough time because Panthers is Carolina, Titans is Tennessee.
I'm never going back again. That's it. Here we go. Let's forget that last comment. Sorry, Titans. Love you. Into turn 1 they go, over the kink and down towards the Optima batteries, turn 2. Good clean start as the field already spreading out now. And it's Scott Borchetta in the all yellow. Number 48 leading the way in that number 20, the most modern car out there, and he should, if he gets this lead, pull away from the older cars.
Now, interestingly, in qualifying, it was Brown who out-qualified Borchetta, but Borchetta then out-qualified Brown this morning. That's why he was on the front row and not Brown. But Brown still has a shot at him, but he's watching Borchetta pull off in the distance. Can't let him get much farther ahead.
No, and that's the key at Laguna. You do not want to give too much of an advantage to anybody. There's that beautiful number 42 of Ransom Webster and the 355 K3. from 1976.
And it's a shame that Richard Goldsmith went out, because that was what we were kind of alluding to yesterday as an IMSA battle of the past, because the Decon Monza was, again, the car to have before the Porsche 935 came about, and there is one, the 935 Creamer 3 entry of Ranson Webster. Great Goldsmith going off.
So just 5 minutes to go. That's the other thing that always shocks me a little bit in terms of time, is that just when you're getting yourself bedded in, you're coming to the business end, you're coming to the sharp end. So if it's close, you got to get the hurry up going, haven't you?
Oh, most definitely so. And this is a very difficult track to learn. Very difficult if you're visiting here for the first time. It's very low grip, it's very technical, and it's a lot faster than it looks like. You look at the track map and they say all these tight turns, but they really, if you string them together and put them together, as a race car driver usually does during the course of a weekend, it's really a very fast track.
And there's the number 10 going through shot there. Maxwell Hauser. I had a close look at that car. That's a beautiful repaired car. As through goes the 13.
Now, it used to be in NASCAR that there were two things that you never did on a car. One was not have a green car, and the second car was not to have number 13. Harry Gant usually pretty much took care of the first one, because Gant started winning in the Skull Bandit years ago, but the number 13 was not looked on favorably in NASCAR.
Yeah, I don't think anybody likes the number 13. And in China, it's the number 4, incidentally. How about that for a bit of trivia?
How about, yeah.
There is no 4th floor in a hotel in China.
Wow.
It's the same as the 13 to the west.
Oh, only here, folks, did you learn.
Exactly. Stay tuned. Me and Scott have got you covered. The only problem is, Scott, I'm glad they don't use my middle name, because it's Scott.
Oh, no. I'm confused enough.
Yeah. Here we go. Back to the number 11. That's Steve Thomas in the Thunderbird. The all-red Budweiser Thunderbird. Didn't get the qualifying he wanted in that 94 Thunderbird, but still pedaling nicely.
One of the drivers that I don't think we've seen yet is the 22. That's Ross Merrill, Thomas Merrill's father. Again, we were talking about the TA2, Ross Merrill in that 91 Thunderbird. That is a long-time Ford Thunderbird that has been in NASCAR Winston Cup as well. That's the one that Derek Cope drove. But either way, Ross Merrill, the father, is going to be watching his son qualify here later on this afternoon in the Trans Am 2.
So here's a story for you. Okay. Thomas Merrill, as you know, from Salinas, just down the road. You just mentioned his father. His mother used to race for the Porsche Club here locally, and it was first Thomas Merrill's experience around Laguna. It was at lunchtime in the break. She would take her 2 boys in the back, no seats, in her Porsche around Laguna Seca, and that was what started the Thrillsville for Mr. Thomas Merrill.
How great is that, to have a parent that would take you in their Porsche?
Well, your mom especially.
Your mom especially, definitely. You would expect that from your dad, but not mom.
No.
That's great.
I love that. It's a good story.
And then Thomas Merrill becomes the driving instructor for Skip Barber here. What a lineage there.
Yeah, and I expected good things from him. Like you say, the whole family are here this weekend. He knows the track like the back of his hand. And there's no question, if you really pin him down, he'll tell you some secrets that he doesn't want the other drivers to know. But once you really get up close to some of these corners, you realize the camber's not where you expect it to be. There's some corners more cambered than others. There's camber drop off the other side after the camber's there. So there's so many things you can learn about Laguna's nuances. And Scott Borchetta certainly knows them. Here comes Scott Borchetta. He's built up a good lead. And this could be the final lap. He's just got 1 minute and 46 to go. But Borchetta building up that lead. And he's got several seconds, 7 laps in.
Terry Irwood, who just recently retired from the Trans Am, he was telling me about the track. He says there's really two places to pass. However, if you watch Thomas Merrill from his last to first, there's a lot more places than that. And Merrill, I think, knows them all. If you watch that video, you can learn a lot.
Well, we saw an overtake into turn 6 by, who was it, Masood, I think it was?
Yes.
Yeah, in the previous race, and that is very unusual. Even Andretti was like, whoa, you don't often see that.
Scott Borchetta looking like he has things firmly in hand.
Six-A of Gordon Johnson.
That's my Oldsmobile Cutlass there.
There you go.
That's why I was looking at it. So I think that had direct connection on the back of it, which was a Buick sponsor. But Buick and Oldsmobile collaborated on a lot of the Trans Am and NASCAR entries at the time.
Was there a dominant mark at that point?
I would say it was probably the Buick back then.
Yeah.
Buick and Trans Am, actually Buick and Trans Am and NASCAR with the Somerset, and then with the Oldsmobile Cutlass came out, I think it started dominating again, as we said, in the GT1 and the SCCA Club Racing Wars.
So here comes Scott Borchetta. Will this be the last lap, or will this be the checkered flag? I think it's going to be the last lap. Oh, no, it's the checkered flag. Yeah, I had to guess one, and I got it completely wrong, of course.
Yeah, 50-50 choice.
Commentator's blight. But I can tell you one thing for sure. Scott Borchetta wins here in Group 10, and he's not done by any means yet. He's got Group 6 to go, of which he's a multiple champion. And, of course, he will be in TA2's qualifying later in the day. And we'll be watching the TA2 race. You want to stay tuned for that. A massive 47 entries tomorrow afternoon for our big race. So, by my guesstimates, that's Scott Borchetta. Walter Brown, would you say second, or was it Bob Briggs?
I would say it's probably Briggs.
Yeah. I think our timing monitor's showing us slightly different, but yeah, by my estimate, Scott Borchetta, Bob Briggs, Walter Brown, Gordon Johnson, and Ransom Webster. But a great performance by the 48.
And that's exactly where he expects to finish in the Trans Am too. He'll be the first one to tell you that, John.
Yep. Oh yeah. I asked him once. I said, "So you're in the music business. You go to all these music awards," and I said, "And I'll bet what you're really thinking about is racing." I said, "Is there anybody in the music business that wants just to talk cars with you?" He goes, "Yeah, Keith Urban." He goes, "He's my neighbor."
Not surprising.
Yeah, he said he loves cars. He buys new cars and he wants to show me them. And when we get in a corner at the music awards, that's all he wants to talk about. I said, "He doesn't want to talk about his wife?" No. All right, on that note, we'll take a short break here from Laguna Seca. Well done to Scott Borchetta. Another win under his belt in Group 10. Join us in a moment.